You know, King Charles's ultimate responsibility in all this is to Keir Starmer, as to the constitution of this country and the benefit of its peoples. And you've got all of this fuss going on over Greenland, Donald Trump, and, you know, all the potential consequences wrapped around it. But at the end of the day, King Charles's ultimate responsibility is to Keir Starmer. The King's got a visit that's anticipated in April 2026 to the United States, and that's to commemorate the 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. And that now faces a bit of a diplomatic hurdle following President Trump's threat to seize Greenland from Denmark. The monarch is understood to be considering the transatlantic trip, though Buckingham Palace has yet to confirm any arrangements. Prince William may separately travel to America for the main July celebrations on July the 4th, as the summer period typically proves too demanding in the royal calendar for the King to attend. However, Trump's aggressive posturing towards the Danish territory has cast uncertainty over the planned royal engagement. Royal author Valentine Low, who wrote Power and the Palace, told Newsweek that the King would take seriously if any concerns were raised by the Danish royal family, whether expressed publicly or through private channels. He explained, I think, if it got to the stage where the Danish royal family were voicing concerns, either publicly or privately about this, I think Charles would take that seriously. And if Keir Starmer still wanted him to go over for the anniversary celebrations, Charles would feel torn. But his ultimate responsibility would be to Keir Starmer, to the government, because it's his government. I can't see it getting to that stage. The US president has intensified his rhetoric regarding Greenland, which remains semi-autonomous within the Kingdom of Denmark. Speaking to The Atlantic, Trump declared, "We do need Greenland. Absolutely, we need it for defense." He told NBC News on Monday that the acquisition was essential for protecting both American and European interests, describing himself as very serious about pursuing annexation. A White House spokesman confirmed on Tuesday that military intervention remained among the options under consideration. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen responded forcibly, telling Sky News the US has no right to annex any of the three countries in the Danish kingdom. Ms. Frederiksen urged Washington to cease its threats against what she described as a historically close ally, emphasizing that Greenland's people had made clear they were not for sale. The diplomatic row has now drawn in the British government, with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer publicly siding with Copenhagen. Speaking on Monday, Starmer stated Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark must decide the future of Greenland and nobody else. This stance places King Charles in a potentially uncomfortable position, caught between his constitutional obligation to support government policy and the prospect of appearing to endorse pressure against a fellow European neighbour. Well, that's the news on that. And it's a bit of a powder keg, but there are very, very many things at play here. And no less, it's Charles's responsibility to Starmer. At the end of the day, the leader of the party with the biggest majority goes to Charles and asks permission to form a government. So constitutionally, Charles, his main responsibility is Starmer. Now, don't get me wrong, the monarchy over the years has been severely neutered, and they can't do really what they could do in times past. That much is certain. But I think one of the main powers that they do still hold to this day is the fact that they can get rid of a prime minister if they're crap. That would put the cat amongst the pigeons, wouldn't it? But it'd be very interesting to see when you've got members of the Danish royal family starting to say, well, hang on a minute. what's going on here, how Charles would react to that. Would he genuinely be torn between constitutional obligations to this country, or would he be leaning in the other way? The thing about Greenland, you see all the news and you see what's going on. We are yet again being led down a garden path where we are really led to believe a certain narrative, a certain version of events, what's going on, and it's not necessarily a true one. Yes, Greenland is required by the Trump administration. As I've learned with Trump over the years, really, he will do what he says he's going to do by hook or by crook, sooner or later. One of the important things you have to realize, Starmer, as I said in a video yesterday, is very much pro-Europe. And straight away, he is, ditching our own constitution, our own laws, our own rights, everything else into a ditch because he wants to cozy on up to Europe. But if you look at America, some of the original colonists that went to America were English. They took their English constitution with them because that's how they wanted to live. So we've actually got more in common with America than we do with Europe. For America's constitution was based on our own way back towards the times of the Declaration of Independence. So this should really take on an extra level of meaning for Charles because there is that, shared link there. So what is he going to do? Does he rein the Prime Minister in? Does he wipe the floor with him as he really should? Or does he let this all play out? What is Charles? We see in the news, we see in other literature we read where there is this agenda playing out. And you've got the Bill of Rights, you've got the Act of Settlement, you've got the Coronation Oath, you've got the Claim of Rights, you've got the Petition of Reasons. There are so many laws, English constitutional laws, which are just being ignored, subverted, thrown aside. And you have to wonder why this is, what is really going on, what part do they all play in it? It's very, very interesting to me. When you see pictures like this one, that tells you the priorities of Starmer and his Labour government as getting us back into the EU, under EU control. And when it comes to things like Greenland, Denmark, and other things, you can see the direction of travel, all of which is in breach of our constitution. Somebody needs to hold the Prime Minister to account, and it's certainly not government. The people, the constitution. The monarch should be wiping the floor with Starmer, because the monarch's first responsibility is to his country that he's the king of. He's the king of our country. And when I see pictures like this, you can tell how old that is. And when I see pictures like this, you do have to wonder where the loyalties truly lie with all of this. There is a big global thing in play, and there are many components to it. At the end of the day, if we give away our sovereignty, if we give away our national security, if we give away anything else, then anything that kicks off over Greenland or whatever else, we're going to get dragged straight into the middle of it. And at the end of the day, as I keep saying, King Charles's first and only responsibility should be to this country. It should be to Starmer, and it should be to the people. The people are the ones that are the important ones. And is any of that happening? You tell me. I can't see it. Can you? Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. Follow me on X if you're over there. Hit the like button, leave comments, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.